Hello, everybody. Welcome to All Villa, No Filler. Please remember to like and subscribe. I triple underline the subscribe thing because, like I say, I've said this before. I have to repeat myself, I'm afraid. In the rule book of YouTube, if you go to page 462, I think it says in very small typeface that if you don't subscribe to the All Villa No Filler podcast, you want Birmingham City to stay up in the Championship this year. You want Wolves to next season push for the Champions League. So, that's all I'm saying. So, if you subscribe, it's a good thing, and it means that you support the mighty Aston Villa. Now, Sunday, I went to West Ham United just 3 days after I went to see Villa batter Ajax. And honestly, I think it was one of the best nights of my life at Aston Villa. Got to go with some brilliant people and met some great people there at the stadium. And, sometimes it's just a vibe, isn't there, that you get at Villa Park, particularly on night games when you can sort of feel that we're going to do something. And you could feel it from the off. We dominated the game. Ajax aren't very good, but got to do what we had to do. But then quick turnaround, it was quite interesting myself going from that Thursday to Sunday game, thinking, wow, that was quick. And thinking kind of what professional football players have to deal with those Thursday to Sunday turnarounds, because obviously it's a big challenge on your body and your brain as well, how you can sort of focus. But for Aston Villa, we're not a team that's used to playing in Europe anymore, are we? We've won the big one. We won the European Cup. That was in 1982. We haven't been in the big leagues in Europe for a long, long time, more than a decade now. So as a collective, whilst we have players who've won big trophies, we have Emi Martinez who's won World Cups, we have players who've played at very, high pressure environments in international football, high pressure environments in the Premier League. We have a manager who's won the Europa League 4 times, been to a Champions League semi-final. While we have all these individuals doing this, as a collective, we don't have that experience. As a fan base, lots and lots of young fans at Villa now won't have that experience of Europe. Whereas, I remember it, but again, it still feels quite a long time ago now. And so this is the new iteration of Villa. So how can we cope with those Thursday to Sundays? Well, this season, I think Professor Unai has done a very, very good job with it. Generally, if you look at the results after those Thursday games, we tend to have done pretty well, apart from Tottenham. Tottenham, the 4-0 loss. That's one of the few occasions I can think of where we really did look like we were dead on our feet, particularly in that second half. But I think Tottenham are the type of team who can do that to you because they're high energy, high press, and they can score as many goals as they want. But although they can concede a lot as well against Fulham, which, by the way, thank you, Fulham. You beat Man United away not long ago. We beat you twice. You beat Tottenham for us. You beat us in the playoff final, which ended up being actually quite a good thing because it meant Tony Gier left. And our owners came in and eventually led to Dean Smith coming in. And also you beat us 3-0 and Steven Gerrard left. So my offer to you, Fulham fans, the Fulhamish podcast, any Fulham people watching this, my offer to you is that Michael Jackson statue outside your stadium, Craven Cottage, I volunteer to go and pick it up, stick it on top of my car and drive it all the way up to Aston Villa and put it outside the Holte End for a year in tribute for the efforts you have done for us. Thank you, Fulham. I wish to shake your hand for all that. Anyway, this Sunday, I went to West Ham United. Interesting stadium in that, if you want to talk about revenues and all those type of things, it's a very modern stadium. Big 60,000 seater. No doubt West Ham are probably making far more money at that stadium than they did at the Berlin ground, though, of course, or Upton Park. Though of course, I think that Upton Park had far more character to it. I think it was a better football stadium. This is an Olympic stadium. It's great for athletics. I went there to see the athletics, but for football, I can see why West Ham fans are so frustrated being there. And also, there might come a time where West Ham's form dips off. And when you've got a 60,000 seater stadium, and fans aren't turning up in their droves as they normally would when things are going well well, that can sometimes become a bit of an overhead. It's a catch-22 situation sometimes with the big stadiums. But, I digress. Yes, they have top facilities there, and all the area around it, Westfield and Hackney Wick and all that. There's things to do there. But yes, I think if I was a fan, I wouldn't love it there. And in the away end, you're bloody miles from the situation. I needed the James Webb telescope to see what was happening at the opposite end of the pitch. And what was happening at the opposite end of the pitch for me was I saw both goals close to me, but at the opposite end, I saw the two handballs. Well, three handballs. First one, the West Ham player handballing it in the first half, Leon Bailey trying to pass it into Concert. I would say that was a penalty. I think it was definitely a penalty. I don't know why that didn't go to VAR. I could see from 50,000 miles away that it hit his hand. Strange, but first half. This is what I think happened. I think Duran played really, really well against Ajax, and I think he earned a start. But what was happening with Watkins and Duran was that the two of them were both staying high up by the halfway line and not really coming deep to link up play so well. They were both. It felt like a little bit like they tried to do sort of similar things. So what was happening was that Villa would have a lot of the ball at the back. West Ham, in fairness to them, pressed Villa very well. They've a similar shape to what Chelsea did recently, what Liverpool did at the start of the season. Just making it hard for us to pass out from the back. But the thing was, whilst you could get it into a midfielder or maybe knock it out wide up to a Bailey, there really was a lot of room in the middle there that wasn't being taken up because neither Duran or Watkins was coming back. So quite a lot of the time, it felt like things were just kind of breaking down. There just wasn't quite the rhythm that you normally associate with this Villa team under Unai Emery. And it also kind of felt a little bit like when we played it around at the back. I think Clement Longley has played very well for us recently. I think Longley is a good player, but I think today, oh sorry, against West Ham, I think that he gave the ball away maybe four times. I can think of trying to pass it around in very dangerous areas. Didn't look comfortable at all playing on the right. He's a left footer naturally. He's on the left. Didn't look comfortable on that right hand centre back role. So not obvious. So when he gave the ball away, about 30 seconds later, West Ham scored. The highlights won't show that, but that did come from a Clement Longley giving it away. I think at half time, the right decision to make would have been to get one of the strikers off. Let's face it, Duran over Watkins, and one of the centre backs off. Let's face it, Clement Longley, and that's exactly what Unai Emery did. Get more balance in with Cash there at right back and Ezri Konsa coming into the centre and Diaby then coming deep to fetch the ball and try and link up play a bit more and to allow Watkins to just focus on staying up top. And I think in fairness, I think second half Villa were excellent. I think it felt like only one way the game was going to go. And eventually we got that goal. Zaniolo who came on as well and impressed. He has had a few good performances for us this season coming on as a sub. I think back to the Chelsea game away in the FA Cup. I think to Sheffield United when he scored a goal. Brentford when he had a crucial, a piece of play that led to a corner that led to a goal. So Zaniolo, brilliant goal. Great work from him, I think, although, he showed some immaturity as well, throwing the ball away, very dangerous. There are times with this team, I sometimes think we get a bit involved with things we don't need to be involved with. Think back to the Kamara red card against Brentford. Louise getting a silly booking, with Kudus the other day, even though I think that was a bit harsh. But, there are just times when we show a little bit of ill discipline. I think we show a bit of a youthful exuberance. But yes, I think Diaby was fantastic, and he's been showing much better form in recent games. I said all along with Diaby, I think give him a chance. Let's see what he can do. Started the season very well, but when you're playing as up top like he is, he's adapting to a new role, he's adapting to a new league, he's adapting to living in a new country, a new language, new culture, all of it. And when you're playing up top, back to goal, he's more used to playing as that right-sided player who runs at a player like Leon Bailey does, whips it into the ball. And he's shown moments this season where he's done that. Think to the Luton assist for Luca Dean. Think to the Bournemouth away assist for Ollie Watkins and that fantastic header he got. But there's been a couple of moments recently against Ajax and against West Ham where Diaby has shown he's finding a bit more form again in that link-up role, isn't he? In that second striker role. And that is crucial as we have the run-in for the end of the season, which I'll speak about in a second. But yes, I think Diaby was brilliant. And also, I think Diaby plays better when Bailey's beside him. Think to the Manchester United game, right, where we should have won. Bailey and Diaby were absolutely causing havoc for Man United. Havoc. In that second half, Lindelof was on toast. Lindelof was running this way, that way. He ended up in Timbuktu somewhere, thinking, "How the hell have I got here?" It was twisting around so much he caused a hurricane, caused everyone's wigs to blow off in the Villa whole end. You know, so but then Emery, in one of the few mistakes he's made as Villa manager, I think took off Leon Bailey, and it sort of broke down, wasn't as effectual. And I think we saw again against West Ham where Bailey, Diaby, when those two work together, my goodness, they really do have a nice understanding. And Bailey, I thought he was fantastic against West Ham. He gets the ball in really difficult situations, two players on him, doubling up on him, and his touch is always right. His confidence at taking a player on is always right. West Ham was so scared of him that they ended up bringing on Ben Johnson to literally do a job on him, and he couldn't. They tried to double up on him, and in fairness, I think Diaby helped in that sense, and I also think Cash really helped in that sense. I think Cash had a super game as well. Fair play to him. I think he helped with some overlapping runs and underlapping runs as well in between Diaby and Bailey. I think Cash made a big difference, really helped Bailey as well. But I think Bailey was super, 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 super. And as for a moment in history, well, we were there for the longest VAR check ever, ever, and in Premier League history, that is. God, it went on and on and on. I'm glad they're going for the right decision, but quite frankly, I saw the replay and I thought, why did that take so long to decide? It was a handball, and there was a foul on Konsa. So I don't know why that's taken 5.5 minutes to check. There was a lad next to me in the stand who saw the replay on Twitter on his phone within about 2 minutes and said, "Oh, it's clearly a handball, don't worry." So if he's seen it on his phone within 2 minutes and clearly sees a handball, obviously we're going to be biased in the Villa end. But come on, I defend referees. I go against the grain really on podcasts, don't I? I defend referees, but I don't like to see abuse and all that kind of stuff. But I think VAR's made their jobs a bit harder, really, in some senses. But yeah, come on, that was a bit ridiculous. But and it was also a penalty in the second half for first half for Villa. But also, look, you go away to West Ham, you take that, and do you know what this team shows that Aston Villa teams of the past have not shown? It is character, character. Um, you know, you think back, Villa lost 4-0 to Tottenham last week, right? But there was part of me that thought, I think Villa will bounce back from this and it won't bother us. I think we'll go and beat Ajax, and I think we're missing McGinn, we're missing Kamara, we're missing Mings, we're missing Buendia, we're missing, various players. Um, but I think we will um, get a result at West Ham, or at least I think we'll compete really well at West Ham. We won't just fall over. And, we followed up a 4-0 loss to Tottenham by beating Ajax 4-0 and then getting a 1-1 away at seventh in the Premier League. It's a tough away day. Teams don't like going there. So I'm talking about character, and that's what Villa has. This team has it. We had a bit of a sticky run during January, the losses to Chelsea, Newcastle, and then Manchester United. But we followed that up, beating Fulham away 2-1. Teams don't tend to do very well at Fulham this season. Just ask Tottenham and just ask Arsenal. Villa went there and got a crucial 2-1 win. Followed that up with a 4-2 win over Nottingham Forest, which should have been 5-6. And then we follow that up with, again, go to Luton, another tough away day that no top team has done well there this season. A few have won, but it's always tended to come in the last minute. Arsenal's was 97th minute winner and a 4-3. Liverpool, a last minute 97th minute equaliser. Man City only just getting over the line there. Man United only just getting over the line there. And Aston Villa, we went 2-0 up, dominated, and they came back into it, didn't they? But again, Villa's character, we didn't let the mentality drop. We didn't let it get to us. And instead, Luca Dean pops up at the end to make it 3-2 and a win. And so, we lose to Tottenham. Terrible day out. Got a few things wrong, but then you follow that up with a 4-0 win over Ajax and a 1-1 draw away at a very tough away day where we don't tend to do very well generally. So I think that's a positive sign for Villa's mentality. Think back to 1999 when Villa were pushing for the Premier League title. What happened in February? Collapsed. Think back to the Martin O'Neill era, one or two occasions when we were pushing for the Champions League. What happened? Got to February, collapsed. That is not what this Aston Villa team have done. We're pushing to, by the time they come and play next against Wolves, it'll almost be April and we're fourth. So no, it's a very positive sign to see that these players have such character. Now, for the run-in, uh, obviously it's going to be tough. I've during my lunch hour at work, I actually did a Premier League predictor, seeing where I think teams are going to finish. And obviously, all the predictions I made are probably completely wrong. Games I predict Villa will win, we won't. And then games I predict will lose, we somehow don't. We win or draw. And it'll be the same with Tottenham. You'll probably predict them to lose at City, and then maybe they don't. And then they'll go and play bloody Brentford away and lose 3-1 or something. So, it's hard to call, but yes, I think it's going to be extremely tight. Don't write off Manchester United. Højlund's back now. He'll start scoring goals again, I'm pretty sure. They got a big win against Liverpool. Just be mindful of the fact it's not just Tottenham there. United are still chasing us down, even though I think they're pretty poor. I still cannot believe that they are not further down the table because every time I watch them this season, there's no rhythm there. I don't see what the plan is. It all just seems like a team that is moments of magic from a couple of very, very high quality players in Bruno Fernandes and Garnacho and Marcus Rashford and now Højlund, who I think is coming really, really good. But yeah, Aston Villa wise, I think, like I said before, I think we've shown the mentality that we need to get us through to the end of the season. Fifth might do it, coefficient FC, but I don't want that. I want to finish as high as we possibly can. Look at the top three and aim for them. What's the point of looking behind you? So yes, let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about Villa's recent form. We're going to do a couple of features now over the international break for the mighty Villa on the All Villa No Villa podcast as well. Me and George will be chatting about a few interesting different things, and obviously I'll try and get a few guests as well to, keep episodes ticking over. Hopefully there's no injuries, please God, touch wood. Everyone at home, touch wood. Say a prayer to all the gods you can think of, every god that's ever existed. I'm praying to Zeus up on Mount Olympus. Who's another ancient god? Mars, the god of war in ancient Rome. I'm praying to them all. But yes, let me know what you think. How are we going to do? What have you been your thoughts on recent games? Up the mighty Villa.